Thank you. I have always loved that song. I'm shooting from the hip here this morning, so bear with me. When I was younger, I had a lot of macabre interests. Well, I still do. But I was showing it a lot more. I wore a lot of black and spiky things. I liked movies about vampires. I liked rock music. I read Edgar Allan Poe. Of course, I fell in love with a philosophy about death. There's more to it than that. It actually goes a great deal deeper. I don't have time to go into details about Stoicism, but Memento Mori goes all the way back to ancient Rome. It is a Latin phrase. It means remember death. It goes in tandem with three other phrases that are meant to inspire meaning and purpose in the way people live their lives. There, another common thing amongst the Stoics is memento vivere, remember life. Carpe diem, seize the day, and tempus fugit, time flies. Important things to remember anyway. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Seneca. At a Roman triumph, the majority of the public, by the way, I've sampled some things from a publication that I follow called the Daily Stoic. This is them now. At a Roman triumph, the majority of the public would have their eyes glued to the victorious general at the front, one of the most coveted spots during Roman times. Only a few would notice the aide in the back, right behind the commander, whispering in his ear, "Remember thou art mortal." What a reminder to hear at the peak of glory and victory. It's reminders like this one that we desperately need in our own lives. A thought or an idea that we would rather ignore. Do everything to avoid and pretend is not true. Most often our ego runs away from anything that reminds us of the reality that sits at odds with the comfortable narrative that we have built for ourselves. Or we're simply petrified to look at life's facts as they are. And there is one simple fact that most of us are utterly scared to meditate, reflect on, and face head on. We are going to die. Everyone around us is going to die. Such reminders and exercises take part of Memento Mori, the ancient practice of reflection on mortality that goes back to Socrates, who said that the proper practice of philosophy is about nothing else but dying and being dead. In early Buddhist texts, a prominent term is maranasati. I think I said that right, which translates as remember death. Some Sufis have been called people of the graves because of their practice of frequenting graveyards to ponder on death and one's mortality. Hints of memento mori have made their way into every major world religion and pretty much all of history's art throughout the ages, particularly from the medieval period up until now. Throughout history, memento mori reminders have come in many forms. Some, like the aide behind the general, were there to humble people. Others were invented to inspire zest for life. The essayist Michel de Montaigne, for instance, was fond of an ancient Egyptian custom where during times of festivities, a skeleton would be brought out with cheering people, people chanting, "Drink and be merry, for when you're dead you will look like this." To us moderns, this sounds like an awful idea. Who wants to think about death? What if instead of being scared and unwilling to embrace this truth, we did the opposite? What if reflecting and meditating on that fact was a simple key to living life to the fullest? Or that it was key to our freedom? As Montaigne put it, to practice death is to practice freedom. A man who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave. In his meditations, essentially his own personal memoirs, Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." That was a personal reminder to himself, but to the rest of us, to continue living a life of virtue now and not wait. The French painter Philippe de Champaigne expressed a similar sentiment in one of his paintings, which showed the three essentials of existence. Perhaps you've seen it. If not, it's a picture of a skull sitting on a stack of books with a single tulip in a vase and an hourglass behind it. I didn't get one prepared in time, or I'd have it up on the screen. The tulip represents life, the skull, death, and the hourglass, time. The original painting is part of a genre referred to as vanitas, a form of 17th century artwork featuring symbols of mortality to encourage reflection on the meaning and fleetingness of life. Meditating on your mortality is only depressing if you miss the point. It is, in fact, a tool to create priority and meaning. It is a tool that countless generations have used to create real perspective and urgency. To treat our time here as a gift and not to waste it on trivial things and vain things. Death doesn't make life pointless, but rather purposeful. And fortunately, we don't have to nearly die to tap into this. A simple reminder can bring us closer to living the life we want. It doesn't matter who you are or how many things you have left to do. A car can hit you in an intersection, and that can be it. It could all be over. Today, tomorrow, someday soon. The Stoic finds this thought invigorating and humbling. It is not surprising that one of Seneca's biographies is titled "Dying Every Day." After all, it is Seneca who urged us to tell ourselves, "You may not wake up tomorrow when going to bed, and you may not sleep again when waking up," as reminders of our mortality. As another famous Stoic, Epictetus, put it, "Keep death and exile before your eyes each day, along with everything that seems terrible. By doing so, you will never have a base thought, nor will you have excessive desire." Use those reminders and meditate on them daily. Let them be the building blocks of life, of living life to the fullest and not wasting a second. Remember, time flies, so seize the day and remember to live, because you must die.